Hi guys, I wanted to come live in the group and see what's going on. I have the impression that I've been posting quite a lot lately and there's not so many other posts. So encouraging everybody to share your experiences or your inspirations or anything that you feel like the group could benefit from and other people. It's not only that we are a group, we're like individuals, right? So there isn't just a group like tone or culture and just a certain types of stuff that can be shared. It's quite open, and that's the beautiful thing I feel, because we're creating it together. So on that note, I've also decided to invite Melinda, who works with me in Unlock Your Design, together with Ashley, the membership group that we are having under your Life by Design brand. And Melinda is really posting in this group about really cool and actual things. So the transit talk every week that makes us see where the sun is, and walking the wheel through the gates. So really knowing what the energies that are present, the same thing as we would do in astrology, but we do it with I Ching and with human design and the gene keys. So that's something that is super valuable. Also, when we have things in the gene key community, Melinda often posts it in Living Matrix, so that we will have it here in one place as well. So what part of this is also that I've understood that I'm not somebody who really likes to do things myself. That was actually an obstacle for me to even start this group, to start making videos by myself. I'm really a leader and an entrepreneur, but it's something that is fueled from like the community, the relationships, the trust, the dynamics with other people. I have a lot of fourth lines. That's my personality, right? And it's my SQ and it's my vocation. So that is about the community and doing things that I love, but I also know that they will serve others. And it's really about that externalization. Like I only speak if I think there is somebody on the other side. Otherwise, it's not like a fourth line doesn't really care. There's nobody out there. There's nothing to speak for. As if we would have maybe a first line that has, that just investigated something. They kind of just, they tell it for their own individual like joy of investigation almost. But the fourth line really wants to come across with something. And then I also have quite a lot of third lines in my culture, in my EQ, in my Pearl. So that's really dynamic. It's really playing with energy and playing with experiences, and it's not fun to just play by yourself. So that's why you can see when we have it in the culture, it's called a unit. And that means that on a daily basis or in a business setting, I'm really, really best off in a group between 3 and 15 people, because then like everybody can feel my energy. I can see the team dynamic. I can put people, together in smaller groups within the group, so that we kind of get the best out of everybody. There is like a living matrix in that group from 3 to 15 that I can really like, that I have an ability to see and to play with. So that is why I really love to work with Ashley and Melinda in that little group of 3 people. In our membership group, we have less than 20 people too. So that's also it's also a way to come across and to really know each other. It's called a family unit, actually, when we do the Pearl sequence, because it is that. So that when we can be that close, intimacy is kind of important too. It's not only the fourth line. I wouldn't say that the fourth line is equal as intimacy, but that is something, if you look at my whole design, that is so crucial for me. When there isn't intimacy and transparency, I'm not interested in even having a relationship. So that is why sometimes I'm I really like to look at what's in the group and kind of respond to that more than just to speak to a white screen. And also I'm learning, right? So when there is a purpose with something, then we can learn to do it in a way that feels a little bit foreign from the beginning. And that's really, for me, when you guys interact with my posts or with what I put out there, then I do have that. It's not like in real time, but it's afterwards I have that kind of the recognition of the fact that I'm not alone. I'm not doing it by myself. So I feel like that's the good thing for all of us to ask ourselves, what setting do I work best in on a daily basis? Am I the creator that wants to sit by myself and just be kind of the crazy professor kind of thing? Or am I the person who's really good in partnerships, like the person who would have like one-to-one clients, or the entrepreneur that would like have like, for each kind of thing they are doing, they would have like one person that they would speak to, and maybe that person is managing a team or something, or is it the third line that is very dynamic and like very strategic, and that can play with energy and experience, but that don't really have the consistency of maybe longer time relationships, or the fourth line, that is more about like the network and about the community and about a bigger picture, more transpersonal. Or the fifth line, like we can go through all the lines, the leadership of the fifth line, the voice of the fifth line, the practicality of the fifth line, and also the kind of society level, like really bigger than just the network, like the bigger overview. Or the sixth line in the culture that is about the system, that is really almost like standing like a little bit higher, a little bit apart from everything, or like we would say as well in the keynotes, like on the roof, and look down at everything, and maybe not even feel part of it, but still have that philanthropic and that beautiful overview that can really serve, especially in the world like it is today, and especially in like the global way of how everything is coming together, and the global solutions that we're needing today. So yeah, I guess that that was a long intro. So I'm just gonna share I'm gonna share the group and see if what's going on. Let's see, where is it now? Here. No, this is not the one. Okay, now I think it works. Okay, so this was something I posted, a 55th gene key. I think it's the same in the book. It's probably just about the publishing, but I really felt like it was so. We have had some people posting about Greta Thunberg. It's so funny, I want to say it in Swedish, Greta Thunberg. Trying to say it like I don't even know with what accent is weird, because it's a very Swedish name. So the fact that she was in the United Nations last week, and the way that she's kind of pushing the urgency for these kinds of questions that are super important about how we are destroying the planet, right? And I see the purity somehow in being a young person with a message, and more than a message, is really like a mission. We could say that she's taken this mission. But I was reading something this week where she's saying, I want you to feel fear, I want you to feel panic, I don't want you to feel joy, I want you to be scared. It's like it's really using the shadow in order to make people move, and that is not the way that I resonate with. I remember when I was 13 or 14, and I was losing a lot of weight. My parents had given me a dog a couple of years before, and it was kind of hard. I had moved, and I was in a new school, and I was just like working out a lot. I was a cheerleader. I was walking with my dog in the forest, and I was losing a lot of weight. And my parents took me to some kind of clinic to speak to a doctor, because they were like, it's probably anorexia, or it's some kind of something that she's doing, right? And instead of finding out what was going on, like why I was working out too much or why I wasn't eating enough, it was really just like this 1 hour with the doctor, who was just like telling me about everything that would happen if I was anorectic and I didn't start to eat, or I didn't stop to work out. And it was all about just pushing fear on me, saying, my head would be too big to the rest of my body. I wouldn't be able to have children in the future. I would my teeth would fall out. It was just completely for an hour, just scaring me. And I told my dad, I think when I got back from there, I was like sitting in my bathroom, in my room, for probably a day or two, and I wouldn't go out. And then I told my dad when I finally got out, I was like, I'm never gonna go back there. You know, I'm gonna die on my bathroom floor if I have to go back there, because I knew already that fear is not the way. Fear is not how you can get to your to your solution, to your higher frequencies. It's not by fear. Fear is so different from feeling the shadow in an open way. Fear is the opposite. Fear is contracting. So then you're stuck there. You're not dissolving anything. You're stuck. So yeah, that's really just, and actually when that happened, I remembered that doctor died from from lung cancer just like a couple of months after that, because I think my parents like called back or something, and they were like, no, he's dead. So that also from that time just showed me, like, if you scare people, you're gonna end in a really bad way. Well, yeah. So yeah, so that's why I feel like the 55th gene key and the prophecy that is saying that everything is perfect, it doesn't say don't care about the planet, but see it also in a way that everything is changing, everything is evolving, things are happening. And when you start to when you start to when you start to clean your house or your garage, it's always going to look worse before it gets better, right? So when you start to like take out the dirt and take out the disorder, it's going to look worse before it gets better. And that's the simplest way for me to look at what's going on in the world right now. So many things are coming up to the surface. So many things are like that weren't seen before are being seen. There are these like kind of great, catalysts, I would say, like Greta, where she has a message, she has a mission. She's just too young to really know what instrument to use. And she's also a product of her time, because right now fear is what we are used to using in order to threaten people, in order to move people, in order to wake up, right? So she's a product of her time, and that's perfect, because it's better to wake up and feel fear than to be dormant, probably. Anyway, let's go. Oh, and here, this is beautiful. Ashley was posting this activation about the 55th gene key. Listen to it. It's super, super beautiful. This is how we work, with the mind is one thing, the understanding, but then beyond the mind, a meditation, a relaxation, an activation is just such a beautiful thing to tune into. And then we have Alice, who was asking about, the planets that are associated with spirit. And my my spontaneous question, like my spontaneous answer here would be like all of them. It's all about spirit. Spirit exists everywhere in everything. It's like spirit is breath. It's in everything, right? So there is no place in the Bodygraph or in the hologenic profile where you don't have spirit. And then I understand the question. So of course, for me, like Pluto, and also being a student of evolutionary astrology, Pluto is very important. Pluto have to do with the collective unconscious. I see that, your soul contract, your soul fractal can show in Pluto, in the sense that, what you are here to unveil, what you're here to be part of that transformation, that's encoded in your Pluto. So you can see something that has to do with your destiny, and also with the destiny of the collective that is in Pluto. And then I heard myself say veil, and that's also what Rosalina was mentioning. That's Neptune. So part of what could veil that transformation that we see in Pluto is Neptune. Neptune is also like a beautiful higher octave of the feminine, of the mystical, but in the shadow frequency, in the distraction, she could veil Pluto, that transformation, that possibility, that the unconscious becoming conscious. So that's also a way to look that is very spiritual. For me, the further away planets are spiritual more than the closest one, maybe. But at the same time, there is something very spiritual also in the closer planets too. If we think about the channel 3955, that has to do with the freedom that we're speaking about, like how we're coming out of victimization in the world, how we're finding our sovereignty. The 39 is really about that liberation of spirit, and having the spirit provoking liberation. So, and I can see a lot of that, wherever you would have the 39, whatever planet that would be in, you would have that kind of imprint. I can see the personality Earth being really about spirit, because that's kind of your challenge in this incarnation. That's what you want to overcome. That's what we say in the Gene Keys, that it's the first door to your breakthrough. So yeah, this is really something interesting that is worth contemplating, yeah, Melinda was posting here too. Then we have Anita. I think I'm going to do the readings apart, so that otherwise it feels like, only the person who actually is tagged is probably gonna watch it. But since I've spoken about a million other things right now, I just do that for later. And here I was just posting, I'm not sure why this is here. Maybe because somebody was posting on it. That's so funny now with a new way that things are. Like the post that are last commented on comes in the feed instead of the recent posts. Here is something I really recommend. Christine Delorey. She's amazing, and I've done this with everybody in my family. When I knew people in my life, I just really love. It's actually to just be there and be free, etc. It's very cool. So I'm a fifth life path. I'm all about dynamism and freedom and discovery, resourcefulness, excitement, the physical aspects. Like, this is really, if you wanna know who I am, like, read this. And I would love to hear for the other people. There are quite a lot of people that have posted. Karen, oh, she was a 6. Okay. Yeah, make sure that you calculate it the right way, because I was reading the 7 thinking I knew who it was, and then I realized that it wasn't the 7, it was 8. So make sure that you make the calculations right. This is the glacial empowerment. This is super cool to just the understanding on what different things are. It's beautiful, beautiful. This is Jacqueline, who is making a lot of different flower vaginas or floral vaginas. It's super beautiful, and just the uniqueness of each one is in real life. And here is I was posting from Padma and Anaya's book. So cool for what's happening, especially in the mainstream. It was good. There was some posts on this that it's not applicable to everybody, which it isn't, but it's really kind of on a bigger scale what's going on in society. I feel like this is really cool. Yeah, and this is the new moon in Libra. Beautiful. Yeah, what are you feeling? What's going on for you guys? I'm weighing a lot of stuff, asking myself, how can I come more into my true integrity and alignment? Some things are gonna have to go. My 4th line is like, I don't want to let that go. I want to keep all the doors open, but I know. And also I have Mars in Libra, so it's like my masculine, that ability to decide sometimes is like, it's a bit shadowed by indecisiveness. And here's Linda. Open G Center. I haven't seen this. Oh my God. I guess I guess this is who did these. I remember having seen this, but this is absolutely something to watch. I guess that there are probably videos for all the centers. So your open centers, just go to this whoever did this, and look at your open centers. That's really like one of the first thing in the deconditioning process. Understand how your not self comes out, understand what happens in your open centers, and then you can really, every time it happens, you can kind of just like, you know, pause and watch it, instead of just being angry with yourself afterwards every time, but like see it happening, and then that's part of the unlocking. So this is something to watch. Here, some different things about responsibility and not responsibility and spiritual bypassing. I mean, I would really, really love if there was an intro, so that I know, you know, why it's here, what I'm reading about. So please, when you share something, just write, you know, why. Like, here was perfect little thing, you know, just one sentence, or here as well, you know, beautiful new moon. Then we would know what it's about, and we can decide whether, you know, it's something for us or not. And here, oh, the 48th gene key, of course. Let's share a bit about that. I wonder what line you have it in. But anyway, I mean, for me, the 48 is just so beautiful. It's also bridging my split. So I have in my human design, I have like some centers like that are together, and then in the bottom some other centers, and the 48 bridges my centers. So I have a lot of love for this gene key. It's like the well. It's really so full of resources. It's also in the ring of matter that we are in right now in the transits, together with 57 and in 18 and 46. So it has to do a lot with our upbringing and the inadequacy that we can feel as children, you know, in our family, or even, you know, in this world. And that inadequacy makes us like really create a big toolbox, because we don't, you know, it kind of comes again a little bit from the shadow, but because we don't want to feel inadequate, we often learn a lot of things, and we, you know, we deepen our knowledge, we deepen a lot of things in order to be more prepared for life somehow. And the things for the 48, I feel it's not so much what we, you know, what we learn. We might be confused and think it's the depth is how much we learn, how many books we read, how many degrees we have, but it's in the splenic center. So it's more about actually an instinctive depth and an instinctive knowing, an instinctive wisdom, and that is the city. So this gene key goes from inadequacy to resourcefulness to wisdom. So that's that kind of, it starts like kind of sad, the child that feels inadequate, kind of came to the wrong planet, and all these things, and it doesn't feel like it has enough talents. That's the 16th gate, which is the harmonic who comes from the throat, and then realizes that it's absorbing a lot of things, and just, you know, actually spontaneously and instinctively, it's like that well, like so many, there's so much depth, there's so much resources, there's so much wisdom. And then often I feel like the 48 is something that blooms a little bit later in life, because that's when we can really kind of live out or use all these tools that are in the toolbox, and that is really wisdom. And we say that with the well, sometimes we say it a bit also with the receptive, you know, mind and brain in human design, but it's like, it's not until somebody comes and drinks from you that you realize how really deep and wise you actually are. So interesting, Sonia, to see what line you are also, because that's going to kind of, you know, influence how the 48 is lived out. So I think I'm going to stop here because it's really quite long already. Oh, and here we have Julia as well with a chart. So let me see if I'll do like just some shorter videos with the mini readings. And this was really cool. This was Elad who was posting something that I had posted a while ago in this group actually, but I had this person who was sitting in a kind of, you know, cross-legged, and you could see the feminine, the masculine energies going, the kundalini going up and down. And I really, like, you know, here was linked to the 62nd and the 61st gene keys, and the inner feminine and masculine, the life force. And when it's stagnant, it becomes fragmented, the energy can't circulate. And it's really about our health, because when our life force can't flow, it's going to affect our health. Also, the feminine masculine is our inner balance. When we're not balanced on the inside, we're not going to be able to attract anything balanced on the outside. So maybe we're also going to feel like if we're stronger in our feminine or masculine, we're going to try to find what we don't have outside of ourselves. So this is super, super crucial. It's so much of what I do, that the seeds of our life force, the feminine, the masculine on the inside. It's also what I was posting, what Padma and Anaya had written about in that sexuality quote, but it's so much stronger than just sexuality. It's the seed of our life force, the seed of our vitality. And it's really something for all of us to dive into, so that we become whole and sovereign from the inside, and can walk in the world like that. Yeah. So let's see. I guess I'm going to stop share here. This is here. Yeah, so I guess I didn't do any readings today. I guess I'm going to do them apart, just maybe come on and share some of the stuff in the group, and then do the micro readings apart. And also, you can really learn a lot from looking at those little readings, because there's always going to be things where I say, okay, here, if you're a third line, it's like this, but if you were a second line, or I'm kind of often referring to things. So especially if you have somebody in your family with that incarnation cross, or that profile, or that aura type, it can help you. So and also, please ask questions. If you have a similar profile but you wonder what the difference is for you, if they, yeah. So thank you.